Good morning, viewers, and welcome to TCB Television. My name is Mukao Isaac, and this morning I have a guest with me in the studio, and she's gonna introduce herself and what she does, and then we're gonna have a word of exchange concerning about what she does and what we do here at Thika College of Banking. So, good morning.
Good morning, Isaac.
You introduce yourself and what you major in.
Hello, my name is Medin. In fact, I am Medin Ferrando, and I'm a teacher at the high school in Spain. I do usually teach A-levels, but also finance and administration students. And, well, we do many different projects in our school, and one of them has been sending me to Kenya, to this school, in order to share experiences with teachers here, and well, in order to learn one from the others and well, get enriched with experience.
Nice. Now that you are in Kenya, is this your first time to visit Africa for official duties or engagements?
Well, officially, this is my first time. I've been in Africa for some other times. I've been in Senegal and Mali and South Africa and Egypt and Morocco, because one of my very, very important interests is traveling. So, but I've always been there on my own.
Oh.
I'm very interested in Africa and in different cultures, but this is the first time that I'm here for work purposes, and I feel I'm very, I don't know, fortunate to come to Kenya, because Kenya
Yes.
is a country that everybody in Europe wants to visit.
Yeah,
so.
talks about Kenya. Yeah, let's talk about Kenya now, your experience in Kenya. How would you say about your expectations of the weather and the food and generally about the people of Kenya? What would you say?
Well, I think that when people think of Kenya, they always think of natural parks and animals and things like
Exactly.
that. So to me, this is a very special experience, because we're not here as only tourists. In fact, we are trying to visit some places and so, but we're not only tourists. We're learning so much. We're getting in direct touch with many people here. I mean, Kenyan people. And I think this is, well, the biggest experience. And I would say that one of the things that I'm really enjoying is this, the interchange of opinions, learning the way you live here, because we have even been at some of your colleagues' houses and so, well, to me it's being something special. It's not the same when you're a tourist at a country, or when you are with local people visiting places and so. I think you get much more in touch with what the place is.
You've had a taste of our delicacies.
We had a what?
A taste of our food. Which other food have you actually? Mukimo?
Mukimo, ugali.
Ugali. Which one do you prefer, or which one did you enjoy? Chapati, yes.
Yeah, I don't really know. I really like the one I loved was one that was pork. It was chopped pork with some vegetables, and it was cooked somewhere, but served in a wooden surface. And then we had this ugali in different places and some special salad around. So we took this piece of ugali, and then with that we took the piece of pork, and it was excellent. I really enjoyed that.
You mean that's mukimo? It's mukimo, yeah.
Mukimo?
Yes, mukimo, yeah.
Right.
It's traditional Kikuyu staple food for the Kikuyu people.
Oh, I really love that.
Okay, nice. Now, let's talk about, you said you are a teacher by profession and specializing in teaching grammar, right? How many years of experience?
Oh, sure you want to know that?
More than
35.
More than 35
Yes,
experience.
35 and some months. Yeah, I've been teaching from the very first moment that I finished university.
Oh,
but
nice.
I've not always been in the same school. At the beginning I was in some different schools. I've been teaching I started at university, and then I changed into a secondary school. Now I'm much more involved in VET and vocational and educational training.
Currently?
Yeah, currently at the moment. And I have also participated in many European experiences. So I've been not only teaching but also observing. We call it job shadowing. You are with another teacher and you observe the way they work. In fact, that was a way for us to introduce in our school what we call dual model of studies, which is sharing working and studying at the same time, but valuing into your grades your experience at work. So this is something that we have introduced after having been in some German schools, for instance. Yeah, after the pandemic we learned a lot about digital platforms or sites, and well, we had a lot of input through the social nets also in order to share different methodologies, I would say. And well, I think I've been teaching for a long time, but I've been learning all the time. So to me, this is a very nice job, especially for that reason. Contact with young people, which keeps you updated all the time.
Yeah, sure.
And meeting a lot of interesting people from whom you can learn. So I'm teaching, but my real vocation is learning.
Yeah.
So this is a good thing for me.
Yeah, nice. Because myself, I'm a teacher, even though I have a background in journalism, because I'm a professional trained journalist. I have realized that when it comes to teaching, it's more of a call. Let me say it's more of a call. Why is it more of a call? Simply because not all people can become teachers. Now, on to this, when you started, there maybe you had some perception, or you have an idea about people say teaching is a noble job. Some say teaching is more of like a vocation. You are just doing it for the purposes of actually being employed for that matter. Or what has actually come out clear before you started, and now that you are a teacher, that actually has opened your understanding of the teaching profession?
Yeah, well, in fact, I think that when we decide to become teachers, we always have a previous idea of what the job involves itself, because we've been learning previously and we have the model of our own teachers. So regarding that, you also choose the way you like the most, or the aspects that had influenced you the most, and then you want to imitate. But as I said before, you are in constant learning process.
Sure.
I mean, they say that this is a long life learning process.
Exactly.
And regarding that, I would say that you modify your own style at the same time you are doing your job. It can be vocational, but only vocation is not enough. You've got to know a lot about many things.
Yeah, for sure.
In fact, this is one of the things that could make you not to feel so confident. You all the time want to know much more than what you're expected to teach. Just in case you've got, or you are in front of some students who could maybe demand from you some special questions or some things, you're not expected to know only about what you teach, but many more things, about the world, about the people behavior, about relationships, about, well, why not? Correction.
At one time you become a counselor to this learner who is learning there, because you also play a part of nurturing and shaping their career and also even their social development. Talking about teaching, especially young people, it's a challenging thing to teachers. Speaking from my experience, you need sometimes the understanding that you have is not the same with that of the young students. So how do you go about in making sure that what you want to put in this young student always finds its way home?
Well, I usually have plan A, B, and C. Because I want to get adapted to them. Well, you can't be teaching on your own, ignoring the people you're working with. So to me it's very important to get adapted to them and to know about their desires, what they are eager to know, what they are curious about. So of course you've got to have a plan. But I think it is important, in order to get them involved in your plan, to only include their needs, their desires, their interests. So, well, it is a double direction activity. It's not only you providing and then receiving. No, you always learn from them, and you adapt what you want to teach to the needs you see. Even getting adapted to the curriculum studied by, suggested by the government, or because I work at a public school.
Yes, so talking about your experiences in actually handling or tackling students from abroad, and your experience in actually taking our Thika College of Banking students through the lessons that you have actually been interacting with, how would you say about the uptake? I mean, how students do cope up or do adapt to your lessons comparing with the students that you've been taking from Spanish, right?
Right. Well, one of the things that is making things very easy here is that we have certain flexibilities in timetables. So when we find that something is really interesting, like getting into a workshop or getting into something new that any of us can provide, then we suddenly go for it. And this is very good. That wouldn't be so easy, at least in my school, but we try to. In my opinion, that's a very good thing, in order to provide everything we have, everything we think could be interesting for the students, and also how receptive the students are. They are really enthusiastic about learning everything.
That's important.
Yeah, it is very important, because it makes things much easier. I mean, you get into a class and you are not thinking of different aspects that could improve your performance or whatever, because they make you feel confident. They make you feel confident with their attitude. They are really receptive, and that's very, very good.
Talking about flexibility, I actually loved that. You know, one thing that why we adopted flexibility in our teaching module is that we used to have, or rather, let me say, we have the traditional approach to teaching, which is actually theory-based, and you'll find that theory takes up a lot of our time in the teaching schedule. And as a result, if we go that way, you'll find that the student has lots of theory knowledge and less practical activity. And as a matter of fact, case study in Kenya, you'll always find that most of the graduates, especially in colleges and technical institutions, when they graduate, they are full of theory knowledge. But practical competency, it becomes an issue with some employers who would want a graduate who has equal share or proportion of theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge. That's why you will always find me engaging my students in practical activities like this, because I have taught them the theory of actually doing a production, that you must get this one done. But then sometimes I can tell them, okay, I know we have a certain lesson here, but would you please take up this activity quickly, because I want to expose them, have a balance over 50% theory and 50% skill based. So that's also a good observation to note. Now,
I totally agree with that, because I think that in order to make your performance or your practice better, in order to improve it, theoretical knowledge is necessary. But I must say that now that we have changed into this practical approach of the knowledge, I've seen that once you practice something and see the way it works, you start being curious about knowing more. So now I think that we teachers have changed the approach. We start with practical things and make the students discover that they want to know more, and then they can acquire, and we can provide all the materials so that they have this theoretical knowledge too. But definitely I agree with you. Practical approach is much more interesting for students in every sense, just to make them know what they are doing, but also to arouse their curiosity towards the subject. That's true.
Curiosity is very important,
Yeah.
because if a learner doesn't have a good grasp, basis of knowledge, the theoretical knowledge, they may just end up doing things, but they don't know how they can refine or better them, simply because they don't have the theory on how you can fine-tune that practical, technical activity that you are doing to become of good standard. And especially talking about technical institutions, you know, they are here in Kenya, our technical institutions are actually meant to produce skills and knowledge that is directly needed in the manufacturing sectors and in the industries. So I think that's also important to note. Onto it, I want us to talk about the comparison that we have in terms of our curriculum, because when you compare our Kenyan curriculum of teaching, you'll always find that yours accommodates what you call a person can learn as well as be teaching, for instance, or they can be learning and working. Here in Kenya, we don't have that. So are there common similarities or practices that you would mention, or that we can borrow from your system of learning to ours, perhaps?
Well, it takes a lot of time, because here there is a very important cooperation between institutions when talking about public schools, the school itself and the companies. So here we have to find a balance between public funds and the interest of private initiatives or companies. Because what I find really interesting for our students is for them to be close to what the companies nowadays need or expect from them. It's true that they have to provide something new, fresh air into the companies, but in order to do that, they need to know the way a company works. And it's not, as we were talking about practices, it's not enough us telling them or pretending at school that we are doing practices similar to the ones they are going to have in the company. So here they can be trained in order to know what they can find, but then we need important periods of time when they go to the real company, train there, and that's something that the school could provide for the students. In fact, that's the way it works in Spain. We have a list of companies and tell the students, you can do your training period in this place or the other, and it is the government that certifies that that company has acquired those students as training workers. I'm saying these training workers because they do not receive a wage. You know, they receive certification. So here I find some aspects of quite an importance. For instance, one of them is the relationship among the institutions, school and companies, and the other one, the recognitions or the acknowledge of that activity into a company. They need a tutor. A tutor should see that that student who has been studying graphic design, for instance, is not serving coffee. You know what I mean? That person should be doing something that provides knowledge to him or her, and also that person is providing some job or some work to that company. So this interchange should be supervised by a tutor. So teachers should also have this connection.
That brings us to the next question that I was about to ask you, because when you talk about when we have placed these students of ours in the industrial practice, or what we call apprenticeship. Yes, exactly that one. We expect that they go there to learn the skills that are relevant to their courses that they trained in schools, because we've heard of some cases whereby they tell you, Mwalimu, I went to a place, now I'm being told to clean, and no, I didn't major in that. You see, That one happens as a result of the institution doesn't have what we call you call establishing what a collaboration or a partnership, whereby we say that, for instance, Bidco is a manufacturing company, that our students in business will actually undertake their attachment at Bidco, and this is what they expect. As a school, we establish that partnership, that we expect our students, if they come to your manufacturing plant, they be taken through this and this. And then Bidco will also, on the other side, tell the school that we expect your students to have knowledge of this and this. You see, in that sense, we do what? We better the education, the quality of education that we are producing in the technical institutions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is definitely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Otherwise, any challenges maybe you faced when you are discharging your duties in classes in Thika College of Banking? Maybe any difficulties you found here and there, morning?
No. Well, I mean, I'm the kind of teacher that likes to be prepared. I told you that I usually have planned E, B, and A, B, and C. So to me at the beginning it was quite a confusing situation because I didn't know exactly what you expected from me. But well, I prepared some things, and step by step I got to know and also to the rhythm here, because I know that some unexpected things can arise, and that's great to grab it and try to learn from it and get involved in that. So yes, I think that I feel much more confident after these days, and well, I expect to learn as much as I can from you, from the students, and from this experience.
Okay, thank you. Now, this one is to wrap up our discussion of the day. Now, I know you are some days old in Kenya, and we've taken you through our schedule, and you've interacted with our students, so you have a basic or a general overview of how we teach our curriculum. How would you recommend what can we do better, maybe in order to equip our learners better, per se, if I may put it that way? I wouldn't know what to say, because I'm really trying to get adapted to the way you do here. So at the moment I haven't seen, well, I'm not assessing or evaluating wrong things or the things that I don't like, but just the opposite way around. I'm much more interested in those things that I can get from you. So that question to me is a bit difficult. I wouldn't know what you say. It takes time. Maybe maybe I should know more about this, or maybe experience more situations in order to. At the moment, I'm just eager to learn everything I find in front of me. Thank you very much, Madam Medin, for actually gracing my session. It's a pleasure to have you on board. Maybe any word to our viewers, or any piece of advice you'd like your Kenyan viewers or the general public to get to know, you can share it. I don't know. That maybe your catches my. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying it, and so thank you for this experience. And I'm sure this is going to be something that I will remember my whole life, because it's been really rewarding. So thank you for all this, the experience. Thanks a lot. All right, that was Medin from Spanish, from Spain, from España. And I've been your host. I've been your man who is actually in charge of this field. But my name is Mukao Isaac. It's been a pleasure to have you. So see you next time, guys, and keep on following our Facebook page there at TCB. As well as you can connect with us in various platforms, including TikTok as well as Instagram. So see you next time, guys. Bye. Bye.